Hello everybody and welcome back to Supermarket Simulator, and the day is here. The game has been updated. It's been about, what, 2.5 months or something since the last update arrived. We have now had one of the bigger updates that the game has ever had, the customization update. So we're going to check that out today. First things first though, for me, I've loaded my game up and this is what I have been greeted with. An empty supermarket. All of my shelving has gone, all of my products have gone, all of my checkouts have gone, all of my storage has gone, my fancy sign that had my supermarket name and my channel logo and everything on it has gone. Nothing has remained. Absolutely nothing. It has all gone. It's kind of common with updates. When you get a large update to a game, a lot of mods obviously are going to break, and that is what's happened this time. So over the course of the next week or so, I'd expect some of those mods to have new versions, which then enables them to work again. But until then, this supermarket is pretty dead. Yeah, I have no idea if I can even get it back to how it was. Hopefully, we'll find out. But we're going to be checking out the new update anyway today, and we're going to be testing out some of the new features, which are restockers are now able to take boxes from the ground. So when you have them delivered, they will pick them up from here and they will take them into the storeroom, which we'll find out if that works very soon. There is some customization to the sign now built into the game, so we'll have a look at that. We can now paint the walls and do different flooring as well. And there are lots of different shelving options and fridges and freezers and stuff also built into the game now. So we're going to have a look at that. And hopefully, over time, as I say, we will get this supermarket back up and running. But for now, I'm going to load in a different save that's got a little bit more money so we can have a little play around with the new update. Let's have a look at this update then, shall we? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our computer, and we're now going to go into management, and we can now go into the customization tab, which has been unlocked. So we can change our store name. So if you click change, you can now put any store name you want in. Obviously, I was doing this with a mod, but you can now do this in the game. So we're going to call it The Last Resort, just as we do in our playthrough. We can change the size of the font to suit how we want it to look. It's a shame we don't have more fonts to choose from, but at least you can change certain aspects of it. I do like the fact that the text color and the background color are all on a color wheel. So not only can you choose from the color wheel, and then you can choose the exact color you wish. I do like that feature. So let's go with something, I don't know, let's go with something like that, and then we can change the background color to suit something like that, which is probably going to be sort of a sort of darker color there, and we can click approve. And then I think that worked. No, it didn't. It didn't even work. Didn't even work. It stayed red. Let's try again. Wonder why that happened. Let's have a look. Change name, background color. Let's change the background color again to black. Approve. Did it work this time? No. Interesting. So you can't have a black background. Is that just that, or can we have that yellow? Do I have to click OK first? Hang on. Is that me clicking the wrong thing? Okay, you have to click OK first. Fair enough. That was me. That was my bad. There we go. So we've got The Last Resort. So that works. That was my bad. Right, one of the other things we can change now is the lights. So I've always been annoyed. That's why I have this mod, actually, that is still working, where you can place your lights in a more structured way. You now have a big square around them, so you can line them up perfectly. Sadly, there's still no snapping in the game. I don't know why not, but I don't know if that mod still works. I've just disabled all the mods to try and get the game working at the moment. But sadly, there's no snapping, but at least you can line these up a little bit better now. So at least you can line your lights up around your store much easier than before. So that is very nice. Let's have a look at the entrance position then. Change the position of the entrance. So we can move up and down the store now with our entrance. It's a bit of a shame you can't kind of put it bang in the middle and have equal space either side of the entrance, but it's still nice to be able to move this around, I think. Let's try it. Yeah, let's try it there, shall we? See how that looks. I think that's better, actually. I think that's better. It does enable you to, if you're on your second or third playthrough, as I know some of you are, at least you can have a slightly different looking store now by having your entrance in a different spot. And I think having a more central entrance enables you to utilize maybe some of the space over here a little bit better as well, so people can walk in the center and then maybe they can pay either side or something like that. So I think that's quite a nice feature as well. The other one is not available yet, unfortunately. Change the appearance of the entrance, so assume you can, I don't know, add extra glass or add some different features to it, things like that, different colors, things like that to your entrance. I'm looking forward to when that comes. That is about it for here. Storage has now been changed. So this is, I believe, as big as the storage could go in the stock build of this game. Pretty sure on this save I'd sort of maxed out what you could do. Basically, if you've been watching my playthrough series, you'll know that we had the storage mod and we went right the way down there somewhere, which unfortunately has swallowed up my products, because I have tried the normal save without mods, and I did have my shelving racks back, but unfortunately only half of them, because the other half of them are through the wall. So I don't know what's going to happen with my stock, but we do have more storage options, so we're going to buy it all and we're going to see how that looks. So this is now the stock in-game storage, which now goes that way, interestingly. Oh no, it goes over there as well. It's still catching up. Okay, so if we move some of these racks out of the way, you've got a reasonable size area now. I would say that this is now big enough for the amount of products in the game. And, you know, you could easily go all the way around the edge here and then a few in the center. I think this is now about the right sort of size for the game. You shouldn't really have any storage room issues, I don't think, with this size. So that is a solid improvement, I'd say. I think there's more than enough room in here to get every single product in here and have it on multiple shelves as well, should you need to keep well stocked of everything. I think that's quite good. That works okay. So I think that might be it for in here. Hiring is still the same. You've only got 4 cashiers, 4 restockers. Growth we've already done. That's all the same. Licenses is all done as well. So the only thing we can now do then is check out the new furniture, paints, and flooring options. So we might as well start with the paint, shall we? So we can now paint our walls a variety of different colors. Unfortunately, each paint costs $200, but seems a bit steep. But then the products in this game sometimes are a bit steep as well, aren't they? So let's try and paint it. What colours shall we go for? I think we will go with... Let's go with this blue over here. Let's go with one of those. We'll also try that white there. I assume these get delivered outside. Yes, they do. Okay, so this is the white. Now, I've no idea how to do this. Okay. So the paint does go down in the can. So it's not a, once you've purchased, you've got that color forever. It looks like it's a $200 per can, and a can probably isn't going to do the entire room, which is interesting. I personally think that's a little bit expensive for a can of paint that doesn't last as much as it's needing to. So now that's empty, yeah, so there's no paint left in that bucket. So you can only do, like, well, of a full storage room, less than a quarter of a storage room for $200. That's quite expensive, I would say. See how this blue looks. It's an interesting blue. Part of me would quite like it if they'd done like a roller animation and you actually had to paint the walls yourself as well. Okay, there's no paint left. So, I mean, one can does not go very far, does it, for $200? That is not amazing. But I do like the fact that you can now paint the walls and do whatever you want and fully customize your supermarket. So it's a good thing, but I think they need to maybe work on the price. Because I suppose when you're on a small supermarket, it's not too bad. And when you get to this size of supermarket, money's not quite the object, but interesting. Let's go back to the computer then and see what else we can do. So we can now change the flooring as well. We have many flooring options. Well, 13. But that is much, much better than it was originally. So I am going to have a look at this one because that looks quite interesting. So we'll have one of those. I've no idea how far this flooring will go, or even if this flooring will work on top of our modded floor. So we'll have to test that. Let's go for this one as well. It's another $400. Hopefully this goes further than the paint. Let's try and put this down. I'm not sure, as I say, I'm not sure if this will work or not because I have modded floor. It does. Okay, so it goes over the top. That is good. So it's $200, and $200 gets you that much floor. Wow. They have really started to charge with the customization, haven't they? I mean, I suppose you need something to spend money on once you've kind of finished your supermarket. What else are you going to spend money on? But wow. So $200 gets you that much paint and that much floor. That's not a lot, is it? I think that might need adjusting. Let's see what this looks like. I will say the quality of the floor I quite like. I do quite like. I like the way the light goes on it. I like the way it just generally looks. The paint as well went on the wall quite nice. But yeah, I quite like the floor. But it is a little bit expensive. But I think you could probably do, because you can place it one tile at a time, I think that's quite nice, because you could do sort of a checkered effect across the floor. You could come up with some nice designs. You could have maybe some a certain color of flooring down one particular aisle, a bit like when you go into a clothing section of a supermarket and the floor changes because you've entered the clothing section. You could do the same thing in your own supermarkets here. So I quite like that. But it is a little bit on the expensive side. Right, so the next thing to look at then is the furniture. So sadly, I've lost sort of my narrow shelf and my big freezers and all of those kind of things that I was using in my supermarkets. However, I believe most of them seem to have kind of made their way into the game anyway. We now have a single shelf here. We've got the regular one there. We've got corner shelving, which this game has been crying out for, really. So we're going to have a look at all of these. So let's... Interesting thing you can now do, though, is change the colour of these. So you can buy them in a different colour. So that is quite nice as well. So let's have some nice red ones. So we'll have one of those. One of those. One of those. I think the racks, by the way, I'm not entirely sure, because I've been playing with a modded supermarket for so long now, I can't remember. But these racks look different to me. They look better, and so does the computer as well. That's a lot better sort of desk for it. I'm not 100% sure if that's changed or not, because like I said, I've been playing with mods. But I like to think that that has changed. Right, let's have a look to see what this is. So we have red freezer. I think that works quite well, actually. I quite like that. It even comes with its energy rating on now, which is quite nice. Didn't do that before. Not entirely sure what the volume is of some of these. Whether that's been adjusted as well, I don't know. What have we got over here? Red fridge. It's quite nice. This looks like a, not a corner unit, but it kind of goes all the way around. So this is like a center unit then. So you could imagine you could put that there. This is a good way of breaking your supermarket up now. So if you've got lots of aisles and stuff, you can have a main aisle that comes down here, and then you could branch off. Use this like a roundabout, like a car would here. So you could come here, and then you could branch off down different ways to have your supermarket. It just breaks it up a little bit. I quite like that. I quite like that. It'd be interesting to see how products go onto it. We'll buy some products in a minute and find out. Let's try and get the rest of these in. Okay, I put all the shelving in there. We'll take a look at that in a second. I'm just going to have a look at this tall shelf. So we're going to bring this in here and see just what the difference is between this and the existing shelving. So I've put that about there so it's nice and easy to see. You just get an extra one on top by the looks of it, but that's still quite handy actually. If you had an entire storage room full of those, I mean, I think it's big enough probably anyway, but if you had a whole storage room full of those, I think, yeah, this is going to be... I think you could probably play this game now without the storage mod quite comfortably. So that's quite nice. It's quite nice to see. So let's have a look then at what the restockers do now. So they grab everything from the curbside now. So no more, oh, look at all those boxes I've got to bring in. Let me get a mod to do that for me. You can actually just let the restockers do it. So you can just buy stuff, have it delivered at the curb, and they bring it in for you. Whether that's better than the mod, I don't know. That's what we're now working with. So let's buy just a handful of items. They will also fill up an empty spot on the shelf as well. So if you've got an empty spot for an item that maybe you don't have yet, so if you're buying items for the first time, they will find a place for it and put it in your storage. So let's just buy some things. These products, by the way, so I've just placed a few to have a look at our new shelves as well. Some of them work, most of them don't. So although I'm buying French Francies and Haribo Star Mix and some Marmite and things like that here, we're not actually, because none of these things will appear, sadly. So if I just buy up to the 10 limit, purchase, and if we quickly go outside, the restockers will now go and grab them. By the way, I have disabled the more restockers mod, but I apparently still have an army of restockers. This is from the mod showcase I did ages ago. But yeah, so they'll all pick them up from the curb, and then they go and find wherever they're supposed to go, or find a new spot for them. Obviously, in the game, you don't really have this many, although that is a good news that maybe the more cloned restockers still works, so you can actually have more restockers than the game allows, perhaps. But yeah, so they do pick it up from there. They're pretty efficient about it as well. They go and find a spot for it, put it away, it's done. So that's quite nice now, because I quite like having it delivered straight to storage. It's very simple, but this is just as good, really, because you can be in there working in the supermarket, and they're going to carry on doing that for you. So you just chuck a few orders in there, and they'll just take care of everything now. So that is quite nice. As for the shelving in here, so this is how it all looks when it's got a few products on it. So these are basically the same. I've just checked them for volume as well. They're all the same. You can only half stack these. So you'll notice if you've been watching my main playthrough, I've got double storage in my freezers, so I would be able to get 24 lots of fries in here, double stack. So it would actually, instead of only getting half full, it would get all the way up to the lid. Sadly, that's not a thing, although this is now a triple freezer, so we can go from here to here to here and have 3 lots of stuff in one freezer, but sadly it's still only half full. That's what they look like full. These corner units, I do like these corner units. Not only do they look nice, I think they help with the general flow of a supermarket as well. You've not got that hard sort of wasted space in a corner that's kind of, you can't meet the two things together, so there's just like that bit in the corner that's wasted. That's no longer the case, only you can't come around the curve. You can't place any items on the curve, which is slightly disappointing, but I think it works quite well anyway. Like I said before, it's a shame we don't have more products to actually put in these types of fridges. I like the display case fridge. We just don't have the products to put in it. There's no cream cakes or anything like that you would normally find in these types of fridges. So I put cheese in there because you do find that. But that's about the only thing you would find here. But I guess you can have a cheese counter now. And you can have lots of cheese along a back wall or something with all of these types of fridges. But they do look nice. I do like the look of them. The half shelf works just like a half shelf you'd imagine. Quite useful if you've only got a couple of something like that, for example. If you want just a little bit of bread by the door or something, you could do that. Or when putting things on sale becomes a thing, that could be your sale shelf. Quite like that. This half shelf works exactly like the narrow shelf mod, so that's in the game now, so you don't need that mod anymore. That works exactly the same, so pretty happy with that. This corner one is just a variation of that one really, but this one goes in. Again, you can't use the center unfortunately, but I think when that's fully stocked, I think it would still look quite nice, and obviously fills in a nice corner. These, again, you can't use the center bits or the corner bits of them here, the curved bits, but generally works quite well. Looks okay, looks quite nice, and the same with this center one as well. I quite like this center one. I do think that if I do have to redo my supermarket, which part of me thinks I may do, we'll find out, I think I will probably have one of these somewhere in the center, and people can walk around and grab whatever off it. But yeah, got a little fridge down here as well. I like these. I will be implementing these in my main playthrough series because I think you can just have these a bit like when you're queuing up at a normal supermarket, and occasionally you'll see like a little fridge or something. Usually some of the smaller supermarkets have them. You'll have a fridge with some drinks in it, or maybe some ice cream or something like that. We can have for those at the end of our checkouts. I quite like those. And yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. These are the only textures that seem to work, at least at the moment for me. So we can sell PlayStation games, but we don't have any of the other textures available at the moment, apart from the floor and the ceiling, which seems to work. So not all textures are working, but that is the mod, basically. There is a few differences in fact, if we open, and then let's see what happens with customers. Because I believe that the pathing has been altered to make them better. The same for the restockers as well. But we'll test that theory. But aside from that, I think it's just general optimization updates that have come. So yeah, basically it's just pathing and stuff like that. Just general bug fixes that have changed since. I just want to see if the checkouts are they any quicker than they used to be? Not really, are they? I think you'd still want, if it still works, I think you'd still want to use the better cashier mod. Because they're still a little bit on the slow side, so that wasn't addressed. Obviously, people are walking in and out of the supermarket in a weird way at the moment. But yeah, by default, they still go very slowly, so that's not changed in this update, which is a bit of a shame. If they'd have had that little bit of acceleration, that's another mod you could have got rid of. But generally, I'm pretty happy with the update. Obviously, I'm not so happy that the fact my supermarket has completely been destroyed. Hopefully that will be fixed over the coming days. I'm recording this on the 28th of June. So I'm recording this the day after the patch. So the only mod that's had an update since then is the texture replacer mod, and even that hasn't updated properly because I still don't have access to my textures. But that is the only one that has changed. None of the others have any updates yet. So if you find yourself in the same position, give it about a week or so. I'm sure the mod authors will get new versions of their mods out, updated things, and you can get some of your mods back. I do think some of the mods are now kind of redundant, such as the narrow shelf and some of the other ones as well, because these shelves are quite nice, actually. I think also being able to, the store customizer mod that enables you to change the color of the store, kind of redundant as well, because I quite like the colors that have come with this. The fact that you can just pop stuff down as well, like one tile at a time for your flooring, is quite nice as well. A little bit on the expensive side, but I think it is quite good. So I'm happy with the update. It's a step in the right direction. Now the developer has built a little bit of a team. Hopefully we will get more updates more regularly now because they're a bigger team. They can work on more things, and we will start to see more and more features added to the game, because I think that's what the game now needs. It's features. Not just this customization thing, it needs features now. So hopefully that is what's coming up in future. But yeah, I'm happy with the updates. Obviously, because I was playing a heavily modded supermarket, it's kind of ruined my gameplay for a little while. But hopefully that will get fixed over the coming weeks. I'll try and fix it the best I can so we can carry on the series. If we can't, I'll just start a new series at some point, and we will have a new supermarket. But we will see how we go with that. But if you have enjoyed this look at the latest update for Supermarket Simulator, make sure you leave the video a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you for another video very soon.